With the world of home buying and the market being in complete disarray and craziness, I think it's very important that we have a conversation of, if you're a first-time home buyer and you have student loan debt, what's a way that you can get around that so that we can actually buy a house and start to develop your real estate portfolio, or just having something that you can call your own. Now, I'm going to tell you my story and how I got to where I am. And hopefully through this story, I can help at least one of you find a way to become a homeowner yourself. So let's go ahead and hop into it. The program that I want to talk to you about, though, is the Maryland SmartBuy program, specifically 3.0. Now, what is this program? It is a program through the state designed to help first-time home borrowers get into a house, especially when they have student loan debt that's burdening them and preventing them from either qualifying for a loan or being able to afford the monthly payments. Now, I don't care what anybody really thinks about politically of this. I do think this is a good program and it can help somebody, right? So we're not going to argue about that. We're just going to get into what it is and how this can help people get into being a homeowner. In the state of Maryland, there are a lot of people who can't afford houses, just like any other state in the country. It's a national problem that a lot of people are going through. So you have to find ways to address that problem. And with this program, this is the state's attempt to try and help people proceed beyond this problem. In my life, where I ran into a problem was my student loan payment was about $515. Now you add that on top of rent, which was much cheaper a few years back. I was paying about $1,900 a month just to have my rent and my student loans paid in full every single month. Now, as many of you guys can think, that's a mortgage payment. I recognize that nowadays that's much cheaper than what a lot of people are paying for rent, especially if you get like a condo or something that's in a nicer area. If you get some of the slummier spots, yeah, it'll be cheaper, but that's still a pretty chunk of change. So I could not qualify for a mortgage because I had this student loan debt held over my head. When I was going to school as an 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, the loan providers would tell me, oh, nobody ever factors that into your mortgage. Nobody ever really cares about that. You'll be fine. You'll be able to qualify for this. Once you graduate, you get a job. You'll be okay. Well, that's not true in the slightest sense of the whole thing. So that actually can negatively impact your chances to get a mortgage. When you're getting a mortgage, they look at your total income and all of your obligations to pay back something, whether that be rent, loans, car payment, insurance, stuff like that. Things that you have no choice but to pay every month. Things like a gym, Starbucks, stuff like that. That doesn't really matter because you can just stop spending money on that without any real impact whatsoever. You're not expected to go to Starbucks. You're not expected to go to the gym, but you are expected to pay for your car. By using this program, I was able to get out from underneath of my debt and start to progress in my life and start to build that wealth that can help me when I get older and go to retire. Now, as a younger adult, it doesn't really make that big of a difference, but these small little steps, by the time I'm 60, 70, 80 years old, hopefully, I won't be as in financial dire straits as some other people in the world. So let's talk a little bit about how does this program work and what did it do for me. So the very basics of it is there's going to be a map, and I'm going to leave a link to all this down below. There's going to be a map that shows you where you're allowed to use this program. Now, you can use it in the entire state, but it is income maxed. So what that means is, depending on how much household income is going to be purchasing that property, depends on kind of where you can go and how much your maximum allowed income is going to be. So let's just break this down in even simpler terms. If you were looking at buying a house in Baltimore City, for example, let's just say that $100,000 gross income for the household is your max cap to be able to qualify. Now, let's say that you have that same family that moves to Carroll County. Maybe that max cap is $60,000. So now, because you have a different area, your cap may be higher or lower depending on where you're looking. That map will help you to figure out what spots are able to be purchased for a different value. The purpose of this is they don't go based off the borrower's income, they go off of the household income. So for example, if I am making $50,000 a year and my spouse is making $50,000 a year, we are making $100,000 total. However, if I, my spouse, and a roommate are living together. The roommate might only make might only make 30,000, but because they live in the same building, now our total income for that household is 130,000. So it's very important to make sure that when you're going through this process, that you're mindful of who's living in the house, because that can negatively impact where you can go and what kind of property you can live in. It's also a good idea to buy it and live yourself, so that way you can have a lower income and get into a better house compared to, if you have a bunch of roommates. A lender or your realtor will be able to walk you through way more of the specifics and the minute little details per property. So let's talk a little bit about what is the max payout that this can give you, especially when it comes to finishing off that student loan. With this program, the maximum amount of money you can receive with the 3.0 is $20,000. Now, with the way that this website's written and what they're telling us is, when you have your loan, right, you're going to purchase your house, and your loan cannot exceed, your student loan specifically, cannot exceed $20,000 of payback. So if you buy the house and you're using this program, the maximum amount of money that the state will give you, or I believe it's the bank, it's US Bank is the one who sponsors a lot of this, but whatever, the program is going to maximally give you $20,000. Now, with this program, you're obligated as the borrower to come to the table with the difference and pay it off at closing if you owe more than that $20,000. So for argument, let's say that you owe $22,000. You go through this program, you have all your loan stuff filled out, you're good to go, you have everything figured out, you have the house, you're under contract, everything's doing what it's supposed to do. You get ready to go cash to close, you'll get your little thing from the lender that'll tell you all the money that you need for all your fees, inspections, yada, 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 yada. And then you'll see the $20,000. So if you owe 22, you need to come to the table with $2,001, right? So that way you can make sure that you are no more than $20,000 total, right? After you come to the table with that difference, your loan must be paid off immediately, right? So you'll have to contact your bank. So like for me, I had to call Wells Fargo. They had to give me a payoff quote so that way I could come to the lender and say, here is exactly how much money they say that we're going to need to pay in order to close the account by our closing date. And then everything will be handled by the attorneys and the lenders, and they'll do all their stuff. You just have to wire the money, and then you're in business. So the $20,000 is the maximum amount. Now this program seems to change every couple years. So if, now's not a good time, you could always wait and see if it goes up, but be careful doing that, right? The longer you wait, the more expensive the houses get and the more difficult it'll get to actually find a home that you can purchase. This program is also intended for first-time home buyers. So you can purchase a house as a first-time buyer to qualify. But let's just say that you haven't, or you already have purchased a house, so you don't qualify for that first-time purchase. Does that mean you can't have this program? No, you can. There's just a couple different circumstances you have to kind of follow. The first one is if you've not owned a primary residence for the last 3 years, then you'll be able to requalify. And all of this will be written on the second page of the paper from the state. You can also qualify if you're purchasing in a targeted area. So you're going to have to use the map in order to see exactly where that is, but it's going to be site-by-site specific. Again, talk to your lender, talk to your realtor, and then look at that map to make sure that you qualify correctly. The last thing that'll let you qualify for this program, if you're not a first-time home buyer, is if you are honorably discharged from the military, then you can get that exemption and you can go through this process as well. There might be better programs out there though if you're in the military, so I would double check some of those other things before you go through this program, just in case there's a better opportunity somewhere else. It would suck to basically take this one and have something better that you're no longer able to qualify for because you took this one. So make sure you do your homework, look around, ask around. I know there's tons of programs out there for veterans. You just gotta sometimes have to look for it, which kind of sucks, but sometimes you have to look around for them in order to find it. The last thing that you need to make sure you have is at least a 720 credit score or higher. Now, this can be kind of a hard thing to hit if you're not paying attention to your personal finances. It's definitely one of those things where if you're not paying attention to every dollar that's coming out of your account and where it's going, things can easily rack up. Now, I'm not a financial guru, nor am I one of those, crypto bros, but when it comes to trying to improve your credit, get better credit, the big thing is just don't overspend. Get decent lines of credit, such as a a low interest car payment. Maybe you have some kind of personal loan for like, I don't know, a deck or something small. And then you also need to have your credit cards. Not using too much of that limit is the most important thing, right? So like if you're only using 5% of your total credit limit, now you're in pretty good shape. You might have a better rating. So as long as you have a 720 or higher, you're in pretty good shape. With all of this entire system, basically the big thing is you gotta be financially competent, but using this program can help you get rid of your student loans and start your path towards homeownership and actually having something that you can call your own. I use this program. I found it incredibly helpful. If I had not gone through this program, I probably would not be where I'm at right now. I would probably not have a house. I'd probably still be renting, and I would still be stuck in debt with my student loans. Those things are very predatory and they're very hard to get out from underneath of. So programs like this are a godsend and can help anybody who's looking to try and make an improvement for themselves. As with all of my videos, I'm going to have links below that kind of show you exactly what we talked about, the state guidance, the state forms, and on the state website, it'll also have approved lenders to help you start this process. I encourage everybody, since 2024 is coming to a close, 2025 is coming up soon, let's see if we can get something going for you. 2025 is going to be a good year for all of us. I can just see it coming, but we got to put that work in. We got to start working towards our goals. And if your goal is to become a homeowner, hopefully this program can help you out. If you don't have a student loan or you're already a homeowner, share this with somebody who might not have experienced this program. Maybe this could be an opportunity for them, somebody else in your life, to start that process and move forward. If you enjoyed this video or if you found this informative in any way, hit that like button, hit subscribe. I have more videos posted every day. I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.